And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. Today we're taking a look at 5 Minute Dungeon. Now this game has a couple striking things. First of all, the weird shape, size of the box. That's okay, I guess. It stands well on the shelf at the store. A little hard to store in your shelves, but not a big deal. And the fact that it claims to be a 5-minute game, which we know many times is a lie. In this game, it's a half-truth. Yes, it is a 5-minute round of a game. Technically, you're supposed to play it 5 times in a row, so it's actually a 25 to 30-minute game. But still, you could just play part of the game in 5 minutes, so they're not completely lying. But it also is extremely bright and colorful. Is it fun? Let's take a look. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to pick who they're going to be. So you can be the paladin, the ninja, a ranger, a sorceress, or a gladiator. When you take a person, you're going to get the deck that goes with them. So the gladiator is going to get the red deck because that's his symbol and it shows the red cards on his thing. So if I'm taking the gladiator, I'm going to take his deck, I'm going to shuffle, I'm going to put my cards here on my draw pile, and then you're going to start fighting the baby barbarian. Now the baby barbarian is the first boss out of 5 different bosses that are included with the game. Each boss is the 5 minutes of the game. You're going to set a 5-minute timer. And here the baby barbarian says take 20 door cards. You're going to take 20 of these cards and shuffle them together with some of these cards here with the skulls on 2 per player. So if you're playing with 3 players, I would take 6 of them, shuffle them into this deck, and then put this deck here on top. The game starts, you'll be turning over the top door card. Everyone is going to have a handful of cards based on how many number of players there are in a game. So let's say I'm playing here and I have a handful here of cards and I need to beat this Rosetta Stone Golem. Well, I can see here that it needs a purple and a yellow. So I can play the purple and then draw another card from my hand. I still don't have the yellow. Hopefully someone else can play the yellow. I do have this wild card. Perhaps I want to waste that. If I do, it's gone. So all you need to do to beat a monster is to play the number of symbols on it together, and then it's gone, as well as all the cards that you've played. We turn over the next one. We got a warrior princess. We have an overpriced merchant here. Maybe we have a collapsed ceiling, and you're going to deal with each of these as they come along. The skull cards are going to be different. Sometimes they're a hard mini boss that you have to beat. They take a lot of different symbols. And sometimes they're just a negative thing here where everyone has to discard a card. You're going to keep going through till you get to the final bottom part. In this case, you just need to beat the baby barbarian by playing 2 red symbols, 2 green symbols, and 3 purple symbols. If you do so, you move on to the next level where you'll have even more dark cards and he's even harder to beat. And you keep going until you get to the Dungeon Master, who uses 40 cards and then is extremely difficult to beat. The characters in this game are all different. They all have a special ability. Here, the gladiator can discard 3 cards to defeat a person. So if you come across a door card that says person on it, so let's say I come across this arms dealer here, I can instantly defeat them. And the sorceress can discard 3 cards to defeat an obstacle. So if she comes across here, a definitely not booby-trapped chest, she can defeat that automatically by discarding 3 cards. The makeup of their decks are also different. So the sorceress has all different cards in her deck. Actually, I'm showing the wrong deck for sorceress. Sorceress is blue. The sorceress has different cards in her deck. She has fewer fighting and defensive cards. And as you see, tons of magic cards, including some double magic cards. A card that cancels an event. A card that just defeats a monster, fireballs. And then this one, which counts as 1 of every resource, which can be pretty powerful. The gladiator, on the other hand, is going to have fewer magic cards and a lot more attack cards, including a lot of attack cards that have double icons on them. And then he has a couple things where he can let other people draw 3 cards or just defeat an obstacle with a mighty leap. So each deck is very different. Either way, you can play just one of these bosses at a time, or you can go through the whole thing. If you lose at any point, if time runs out, the 5-minute timer runs out before you've gone through the deck and or defeated the big bad guy, or you run out of cards in your own decks to do so, then you have to go back to the baby barbarian and start over again until you eventually go through and defeat the final boss. Components in this game are absolutely stellar. One thing I really like about this game, you see the gladiator and the sorceress. Well, actually it might be a wizard or a barbarian. Each of them has two different sides, a paladin or a Valkyrie, a ninja or a thief, a ranger or a huntress. Huntress is my favorite. I mean, if you're walking around with a tiger that big, I'm not afraid of anyone. But each one of them has different special abilities and different artwork on them, which allows you to do different things. The card quality itself is excellent. It's really easy. Whether you are going by colors or by symbols, they're very easy to tell apart. The stuff here is written very, very well. And the boards, my only complaint maybe about the boards for the bad guys is that they weren't double-sided themselves. They could have put more bad guys on the back of them. And then just the enemies that you find to fight against, from a wall of spikes, a cactus that wants a hug, a chair that's very uncomfortable. I agree. A bunch of stairs, a surprise dodgeball tournament. I mean, the whole thing has, a silly thing to go along with it. But the card quality, oh man. And when you're done, the box itself has just a spot to put all the different cards in. So I can slide each of the cards in when there's slots here. Really like that. And this is a very minor thing, but I just thought it was really neat how when you put the cards together, the back of each of the cards, it forms a 5. Although it's really bugging me that there's not a 6 class here. Maybe that's an expansion or something. But it forms the 5 too, that they put them together as a picture. Overall, good components. My only complaint would be the rules. The rules are fine. In fact, there's even you can go online and they have an app that you can use that's a 5-minute app with some sound effects and stuff. And there's also, you can watch how to play the game. But they never actually explain in these rules that when you put the deck down, the door deck, you flip the top card over, and every time you defeat a card, you flip it to the side. It's not explicitly stated in the rules. That seems like an odd thing to have missed. It's not that hard to figure out how to do it, but that would be my only complaint. So this is part of a genre which I'm calling the real-time cooperative game, where everyone is playing together as a team at the same time in 5 minutes. This is a genre that's extremely popular. I like it too. And in this game, the component quality certainly elevates it to a level which I might not have maybe liked it as much. I love the artwork for this game. It's just phenomenal. It has a fun look to it. The game has a silliness, but at the same time is actually really interesting as you play the cards. You have to know when to use your things. That baby barbarian is easy to beat. If you don't beat him, but as you get farther down, they're very difficult to beat. My one rule I might not like about the game is they say if you lose, go back into the beginning and fight the baby barbarian. Why would we want to do that? Why don't we just play in the same level we just were at? That seems odd that you would have to go back to the beginning. But hey, you can do what you want. But for me in my house, if we lose, we're just playing the same level over again. It's cooperative and you're shouting out, I got that, I can play this card, I can do this. There's not a lot of strategy to the game, right? You can say, okay, well, this guy needs magic, and if I'm a barbarian, I probably shouldn't waste my magic card on him because I only have a few. If I'm playing with the wizard, why don't you throw out some of your magic, and I'll save mine for the critical time when we need it. At the same time, you can have your handful of cards, and oh man, I don't know what to do at this point in time. What are we going to do? None of these cards seem to work against this character, so you have to constantly be saying, all right, I'm going to play some cards and draw. So, great artwork. I really think this is kind of a game that is, could easily be sold at Target and things like that. People will play it. This is a game you can play with grandma. She may not care one whit about adventuring into a dungeon, but she would probably like the idea of playing cards quickly and matching the symbols and get rid of them. And besides, even if you're not a big RPG, you still will get a kick out of the silly cards and the things that you're attacking, like the arms dealer with arms in a shirt. It's just a funny little thing. So I think this one is a winner. I think it's easy to play. It scales well. I played it with almost all the player counts. So definitely want to check out, because if you play with 2 players, you have 2 decks each, by the way. And it offers a good challenge too, right? Like I said, it gets easy at the beginning and ramps up difficulty. So I think this one is one a lot of folks are going to enjoy. That is 5-Minute Dungeon. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Shut the door!